part that I always say, and I look into the camera because it says it's loading, but apparently all this goes onto the story. So check out the full video. But looks like we are live out there to the fine people in comic book land. So there's nothing else left to say, but hello, everybody out there in comic book land. I am George Serrano, aka The Don. And if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason. It's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you each and every week by ComicBookClique.com. And as always, I am never alone. Ma'am, if you could please introduce yourself.
Robert, aka
The Witch is here in studio. We have an ultimate episode that we are here to tackle. We're talking all things Ultimate X-Men. This is the road of Comic Book Clique, kind of dissecting all of these Ultimate titles. Ultimate Spider-Man we tackled last week. Before then, we tackled the events of Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe #1. But during the planning, a little bit behind the scenes, this was a book that you volunteered to cover. Did you have any reason in particular that you wanted to talk about Ultimate X-Men?
Just X-Men in general is pretty much my favorite. And if I was going to pick any of the Ultimates, it was going to be this one. Since I haven't been reading comics very long, I kind of jumped into this whole Ultimate universe because it was starting right when I was starting to regularly read comics, I guess.
Fair. And I know you're a big fan of the Krakoa era of the X-Men. You're kind of trying to do a bit of a completionist thing there and read every single thing underneath that umbrella. Did you have any expectations for this book?
No, it was pretty. It said X-Men. That was enough.
Yeah, one of the other things about it is now you're buying your own comics now. And you were always kind of a fan of Peach Momoko's cover art.
Yes, absolutely. I get a lot of her variants.
Yeah, and I remember I think it was a Spawn variant or something like that went crazy. They were fighting for it at the Comic-Con or whatever.
Yeah.
Fighting to the death over Spawn variants. It is what it is. But this one in particular, I didn't know where it was going to go. Spider-Man, I'm a fan of Peter Parker. There's only a few ways you could tell that story. We have the absolute universe with things like Batman, Wonder Woman, and, aside from some thematic changes, you still got to do Bruce Wayne, you still got to do Kal-El. There's no Logan in this, or at least not in a prominent sense. There's no Professor X in this. There's no Rogue in this in the way that we know Rogue, Nightcrawler. The characters that most people would recognize when it comes to the X-Men. Were you shocked at all about how little of the actual, I guess, X-Men lore and characters populate this book?
I think that references to the overall X-Men world, but there's characters don't have to go with just those main characters over and over again every time. These other mutants, really X-Men. I don't know if all the ones in this book have not necessarily been actual, but from the mutant community, there's so much diversity.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought in a million years that this is the story that you would try to tell. In comparison to what we are used to with the X-Men, we are used to these big Sentinel battles, these humongous splash pages of two warring factions, the pro-violent mutant, regime versus the non-violent, peaceful sort of mutant protesters that the X-Men sort of embody. But this is way smaller of a scale.
I mean, I don't think so, because I think jumping too far ahead, but even seeing the Shadow King is not really a bad guy. It's not there's a little bit of the mutants fighting for their rights kind of thing, the civil rights thing. But I love that so much of this book is just against this the corporate kind of world, or the bureaucratic side of the world, and all the government stuff. And it's very modern take on how X-Men touches on civil rights and stuff so much in the past.
Yeah.
Like the actual adversarial things that are happening in the world that are affecting even little teenage kids in Japan. Like there's just so much global scale, like with all of the globalization that's happened in the last 20 years, even like, I feel like it really is just the Sentinels are just like, it's a bigger scale thing now. Does that like, it's a global thing.
Yeah. I think, I get your point when it comes to how Peach is able to, make these worldwide issues, but particularly surrounding the Japanese culture. Mm-hmm. So much of this is uniquely Japanese. And while it leaks into other aspects of life in other countries and other cultures as well, I feel that she is unapologetically Japanese in the story. She is unapologetically telling a Japanese centric story. And they had to have trusted her because she is both writer and artist on this book, which I believe is the only person in the Ultimate Universe doing both.
I think so. I love that like these little like Japanese kids see things in the news. Like there's so much centered around like what they're seeing in the news, what's happening on TikTok or whatever. It's not like named TikTok, but
social media. I mean?
Yeah, that. So like I love that Maystorm will see Storm, the freedom fighter in Africa, and like try to like replicate that, but with her own culture. So cute.
Yeah, it's bonkers that Storm is just out there. We know that there's an Ultimate Wolverine out there. You know, we don't know when these guys are going to cross paths. Right now, they're doing the Ultimate Incursion storyline where it's, Miles Morales is bumping into a lot of these people. We haven't seen much crossover in terms of the stories as they exist. Is that a benefit to you, or is that something that you wish they would have like interacted with more people bumping into each other more?
I like that it's just kind of this like, hey, this is happening at the same time in another part of the world, but like I don't know. Well, and like there doesn't have to be that like on the other side of the world from me, and like there doesn't have to be actual overlap of their stories and running into each other to like make it still within the same world. Like she does a really good job of it's still happening in the same global
the world that
like
they all built. Yeah,
they're all fighting the same problem in their own way, and there doesn't have to be an overlap.
Yeah, Peach has been working with Marvel for a while. I actually have on the bookshelf her Demon Days book, where she imagined some of the Marvel characters in more of a feudal Japan sort of
I've seen that before.
Style. Which, you know, I didn't know. I wouldn't realize how much mutants and X-Men and superheroes and all. I mean, it makes sense, right? That it would all kind of line up and look good and effective. She's effective in her art in that way. But her use of things like watercolor make things seem bigger than what they are. She's able to change the mood in a panel without blowing up a building in the background, or you get what I'm saying? So I find that humongous that a lot of the turmoil that is in this book is internal. It's characters dealing with the stuff that they have to deal with and dealing with environment, societal pressures, and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that I took away from it, and I could be completely wrong, is one of while I feel like in the past it was very clearly like racial injustice and you know, the minorities in society. There's also this huge element, in my opinion, of like puberty.
Oh God, yeah, just like I mean, it starts in middle school, which is just, that hits home for me. You know, I'm a middle school teacher through and through. And then they're like going into high school and stuff and this young adulthood and just, God, it's so hard to be, you know, 13, 14. It doesn't get any easier when you're even more like ostracized from your peers because you have like powers. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I definitely feel, like this is the only time I was like, okay, well, I kind of get that. Like, I remember being 13 and 14, and if you had to put like a metaphor together, it feels like you have a bunch of power and don't know what to do with any of it. You don't know where it came from. You don't know where all this energy or angst or attitude or curiosity or, you know, any of that kind of stuff came from, but you kind of got to do something with it. And how much of it is passed down to you, how much of it, you know, comes from outside external circumstances, whether it's who you hang out with, who you're, you know, raised by, all that kind of stuff. Does that ring true at all. That's
Yeah.
part of the perception that I got from this. Not clearly you know, like this is just about periods or whatever. You know, so like
no, there's nothing like specifically physically, but the powers themselves kind of just awakening is definitely metaphorically comparable.
What do you think about Peach's use of a primarily female cast?
I mean, I have no complaints.
Do you think it serves the story better?
I don't know. I feel like all of the male characters are either like the bad guys.
I didn't realize that. As you're talking, I'm like,
they're either evil or dead. So
yeah.
But I think that there is potential for some of those like Shadow King to do some real good, and not necessarily just be evil the entire time. I don't know if it'll go that direction or not, but like, yeah.
I know you mentioned that thing about Shadow King. I got a little bit of sympathy for him, but I don't know if I'm ready to take him out of the villain column yet.
I don't remember if it was in Factor or one with like Gabby and
you with
the Krakoa book.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. Honey Badger. I can't.
Yeah, that bitch.
Yes.
Sorry, I called them all by their first name.
We just lost all our Honey Badger fans instantly.
Her name is Gabrielle.
That's true.
That was a where there was a whole thing where Shadow King killed Gabby, and then all her friends were like, "Yo, fuck you," and like tried to kill him back. But then it went harder to like, but like they went into like his mind and stuff, and it was like him as like the little kid trapped in there being like basically eternally tortured by the Shadow King. And it was just so fucking sad. And that's what I picture when I see this little Asian boy, like, oh, he's just like mentally tormented by this fucking power, and now he's being used by this cult, which is basically the same thing as what was represented in Krakoa in that way. He's just being used by something more powerful than himself. So I feel like, I mean, I don't know any real storylines about him beyond that. I vaguely knew who he was from like XMen cartoons back in the day and stuff. But yeah, I didn't like know his history very well, so I just have seen a few little glimpses like that. And from what I see, sometimes it definitely feels like they're just trying to give you like more sympathy towards him. Like
there's definitely like a hurt people mentality going on with him. We'll get into that.
And that's why I kind of like see, like not secretly, but just like kind of just rooting for him to like, you can get over this, buddy. Like this is you're trapped in a cult right now, but you can get past this. But he does have, you know, major creepy vibes. So
also not to be too transparent, but you are a teacher. You're teaching children around this age. You've taught children who bully. You've taught children who have been bullied. You see as these kids are molding together new identities for the very first time. Most of them not good. Because what is your idea of an identity at that age, right? Yeah. But so much of it is that identity. And one of the other things that I think that Peach does well in this book that you could argue is another pillar of X-Men storytelling is the idea of a found family. Not finding family, or not feeling like you have the kind of family that you need, and therefore you find a family in your peers, in groups, cults, you know? And I think for good or for bad, that's what that is.
Absolutely. I wish that I had read, I think I have the Children of the Atom Krakoa trade.
Okay.
I might have that one already. And I never read it yet. So I wish that I had more background knowledge about that. No, I just don't have time to read because I'm doing 8 million.
I can sit up. Oh my god! Now this is getting ridiculous. All right, short king, stand up, but don't stand up too tall because
you'll make the bitches jealous.
This is true. So Peach Momoko has talked about drawing on a cultural lens that's less about spectacle and more about eternal struggle, like we were talking about. And she's talking about things like true feelings and public facade playing out in a world where your deepest, darkest feelings manifest as uncontrollable. Especially when we talk about things like social media. right? Where you have people do wield power. It's not tangible in a lot of ways, but it used to be like, I'm using a terrible example, but you pee your pants, and in 1960 they call your name for a couple weeks, and then somebody gets polio, and no one remembers.
But now there's pictures,
videos. There's was it remixes? How they do that?
If it's embarrassing enough, it's a meme, and now the entire world is
forever. I remember they was doing like a tour of like all the meme kids, like all the all grown up or whatever. But anyway, I think we are at a crisis of that more than ever, of having a public face and having true feelings. And some people have a public face and think really negative, bad things. Some people, that is their public face, that they are warmongering or bigoted or any of that kind of stuff there. But never, I now more than ever, I have to feel that coming up with that facade, you need to do it earlier. Like, the younger that you are in life.
Scary.
I remember being like 13, 14, and my big crisis of identity was my screen name.
Oh, God, don't ask me. 13.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, they had to represent you. It had to.
But it doesn't anymore because it just doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
You can't find my MySpace. I can't find my MySpace.
I will look for her. But yeah, that is to me like that. I'm watching these young women come up with their identity in many different ways.
They have to do it in front of everyone, and their addresses are public. People are showing up at their doorstep, and their parents have to tell it people. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
As a parent, that's terrifying. As a teacher, like, I don't want that in my schools. We had a fight the other day outside of the school from some kids that were walking home, but it gets videoed and shared around the school. So, like, it affects us. Everything these teenagers do affects all the adults in their lives, too. And that's just... Their poor parents and stuff have no idea what's going on.
No.
Natsu's poor...
Holy mother? Can we call her her holy mother?
Okay, so her mother had plenty of understanding of what was going on. So... I don't think her mother is
mother's
necessarily
in the
call. Exactly.
Yeah.
So she fully understood, and I mean, Natsu was a natural one, right? She wasn't like
what?
Yeah, she wasn't
a bleeder,
synthetic mutant. I don't know
or whatever. Because that's another thing in this. It seems like the X gene is something that they find in a singular person. I'm not gonna get this whole point is to kind of get people excited about this universe and get people to jump in. So we're not going to spoil things outright. But I will say that it's not a scientific thing in the sense of how we remember it, where there's this dormant gene in people. Yeah. It seems like they're pushing it. They're almost trying to create Homo superior.
And I mean, that makes sense because it exists like the maker and all his dudes want to have control over that. So they got control over that.
That makes sense.
Put this cult in their pocket.
Now they just have to deal with a bunch of unassuming young women.
Yeah, now they underestimated the fact that they would have to deal with fucking teenagers.
Yes.
Like, God.
If you've seen Weapons, that's going to be the end of the maker. Right there is going to be the end of Weapons. But I said this to you a bit off air a couple days ago when we were covering this book. But I get so enraptured with this little world that Peach has created. I don't really allow the other stories to kind of get in my head. I feel like when I'm there, I'm there, you know, where this whole story is taking place. Mm-hmm. The thing that jolts me out of that is watching other artists draw her characters.
Talked about that, and I had not seen all the variant covers and all the other artists' renditions until you showed it to me. So I was very surprised by that, and I was like, "Ew, no, yeah, that's not right."
Yeah, this has such a distinct look that I feel like you almost lose it by giving it to other artists, which is something that sounds crazy, right? The first person who created Spider-Man shouldn't be the only person to ever draw Spider-Man. And
she's not the first one to draw these characters. No. They're not her OC. They're like characters that have existed forever, and suddenly nobody else can draw them. Just get your hands off.
Yeah, it's so crazy. But I think that this book lives and breathes by its characters. So if you are down, I'd like to start talking about some of them.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
You're cool. And I want to talk about this girl right here. Our main character of this story, Hisako. Isn't that right? You're going to be my linguistic person here. All right. So
pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
So we got Hisako Ichiki, who plays Armor. Armor is also a regular X-Men character.
One that I did not know for a very long time until this.
There is a issue of this you might have seen, depending on how far you've read, where the artist John Cassidy passed away. And I saw that. There is an image of his Armor hugging Peach's armor, drawn by Peach, in tribute to him. So I thought that was really, really cool.
I'll have to go back and look that one up.
Yeah. But she's the protagonist. Kind of story kind of surrounds around her, and also surrounds around this incident that a good friend of hers, Tsubasa, a good friend of hers has committed suicide. And it's been months since this has happened, but it still completely enraptures that entire school. Did they abandon the school at one point? Or they close the school?
They do eventually close the middle school because where students continue to commit suicide.
Yeah.
In the school, and so does a teacher. So lots of drama, and yeah.
I think, suicide is a rough topic in general. It is rough to kind of deal with your own mortality. It's even rougher to feel like you have a choice in being here or not. And it also really sucks when things are going so bad that you feel the only answer is to not be here anymore. Unfortunately, that's not a foreign feeling to me. And I would say it was probably at its zenith when I was younger, because I had no other way to express myself or protect myself from the things I felt like were hurting me at the time. And for Tsubasa, we see a pattern of bullying, pattern of
feeling left out, loneliness, just feeling misunderstood. Even with Hisako, like there's a time where, he gave her a little charm, and then it gets lost and someone else finds it, and everybody's just kind of like making fun of the little charm. And
he asks her if it's
they're like, oh, that's yours, and she's like, ew, no, embarrassing, that's not mine. And like he's behind her and like hears her say that, and I think that is implied that that's one of the last like straws.
At least interactions, or
it's one of the last things that like it's the last time she sees him, maybe last time he's in class, one of the towards the end of his life there. Can we talk about him a little bit? What do you think of Tsubasa?
I don't think I know enough about him. I feel like I'm getting him from every other person's perspective. I think that we'll get to the Shadow King of it all, but like Shadow King uses him as like a fool, he taunts his inability to get past the things that he was supposed to. He taunts that he had any affection for Hisako and it wasn't, reciprocated. But like to me, from what I can see, and I don't feel like I saw much. Maybe you were able to like read between the lines a bit more. Just seems like a normal kid to me.
Okay, but he gives her this armor charm, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but at certain points it gave me very like Charles vibes.
Okay.
Like he is like seeing things that are going on, not maybe the future, but just like he knows more about her than she does in that sense. Maybe, I don't know. I just remember at one point being like, is this kind of like a Professor X thing? But then he dies. Like, he's dead, obviously. So, but then, Charles just be doing shit. So, like, still big Professor X vibes.
You know, it's funny. I saw all the things you saw, but I attributed to like, I guess like intuition, like being a good kind of person.
Intuitive.
But he might have super intuition. You know, we don't know if he had any sort of.
I think at one point I was like kind of almost like a Charles and Eric combination, like some of both of their qualities, and like now he's gone, and like they don't have this, like he could be a great leader there for him, but like Batty's gone, so they got to figure it out on their own.
Now, how much do you think Hisako should be taking that last interaction to heart? Even if it is the inciting incident, what do you do with that? In the grand
scheme of things, it's not her fault. Not. If anything, I mean, I think that at some point the Shadow King even tries to imply like, oh, I like pushed him over the edge. I like fucked with his mind and like helped him decide to kill himself. But I don't even think like that is necessarily enough. Like, I mean, obviously the kid was already depressed and going through his shit. But I think that because we are reading through the lens of these like teenagers and their big teenage feelings, with like my toddler, I always will say that she just has very big feelings trapped in a very small body. And that's why they come out so explosively. And I feel like it's kind of the same with teenagers. It's like they're in the same transition period as a toddler, basically.
Yeah.
So they're getting all of their adult feelings in their tiny little teenage body and feeling like responsibility for a bad thing that happened is a very like adolescent response to that, like feeling guilt over it. So while I don't think that she should feel guilty over it, I can see how it's just drastically affecting her. It's, you know, completely controlling everything that happens to her.
Yeah. And I feel like you should explore those feelings, even if it, I mean, hopefully to come to the conclusion that it wasn't your fault. Yeah. But you have to kind of explore why you would think it would be, or why. Yeah. I wasn't big on 13 Reasons Why. I wasn't a big fan of that show. I wasn't a big fan of guilting people after your death to what end, I mean, I guess.
I felt like that was the point of the show, was like kind of vibe of like dramatic teenagers taking way too much responsibility for something that wasn't their fault, or placing way too much blame on something that could have just been remedied. Like, this meeting could have been a fucking email. Yeah. Like, that kind of vibe. Like, that's what teenagers do, and that's definitely what's happening in this book. They're just acting impulsively on these like irrational feelings. And
I think one of the saddest parts to me, unless I missed it, is no one's coming to Hisako and being like,
is that a cultural thing?
It's not your fault.
Like, I don't know anything about how mental health is treated in Japanese.
Well,
I mean, no idea.
I just know about the suicide forest in Japan.
Right. So I hear about things like that too. So I don't know how well they would help students deal with something like that. I don't know how well we do that here or in.
Oh, if this would have been like, if you would have wrote in an American XMen, it would have started with a school.
I smile.
I think that
is probably true.
I think that suicide is the school shooting of Japan.
It is.
And it's an epidemic, and they are I feel like the most Yankee person in the world would be like, and they are an honorable people, but they are a people that have a lot of pride and honor. And from my Hispanic background, pride and honor usually means hiding a lot and pushing a lot down to have, again, that public facade over what your true feelings are. And maybe there could be elements of her family that might feel shame that she's even tied at all to the idea that she might have caused any of it. So you just put your hands up and kind of let it go by. Meanwhile, this young girl is suffering. And that feels unfair, given circumstances. Sometimes you just need one person to pull you aside and be like, it's not your fault. You know that, right? And I don't think she ever gets that in this. Mei probably is the nicest person to her, and we'll get into her in a little bit. But yeah, she gets this charm, and it seemingly activates or is I feel like it's not clear there as to what's going on there. Maybe I'm not smart
it was
enough.
implied that she had the charm for quite a while before her powers. The first time that she had her powers like that was
The car accident.
car.
Or the car crash.
So I feel like just a like waiting for it to be necessary, like kind of thing. But I don't think the charm necessarily did it. I think
it looks like it too. So I wonder, like,
it is. It's like her inside of the armor. So it's like that was why I was like, obviously Tsubasa is trying to like give her this like, hey, this is who this is thing, like pushing that like he knows that this is her power, it's connected to her, and it just wasn't ready yet. It just didn't awaken until was it what the Shadow King did?
That's what it kind of seems like.
That's what it implied, but like I don't. Was it just like the emotional outburst that he got from her?
That's usually
because she did
X-Men
start having like
thing.
the pink stuff like come up when she was talking to him, but it didn't like fully turn into armor until she was hit by the car.
Yeah.
So
I
just think it was. Yeah, it was dormant for a while. I don't think the charm really activated it, but I think that was Tsubasa trying to.
Maybe she knew she was kind of armor and could try to get
show her who she really was.
Interesting. I think it's interesting and obviously on purpose that call her a woman. Hisako. I call her a girl.
Young woman is
young
fine.
woman.
Young lady.
Young lady.
No.
I don't think it's not intentional. I think it's intentional that this young lady who is going through all this grief manifests armor. I think that is a big part of this. Mm-hmm. And I remember at my worst stages, life is beautifully cruel sometimes in the curveballs that it throws us. And I have felt, when I was younger, and I think we all kind of go through it, you go through a major pain or something like that, and you want to scorch the earth, right? Burn everything down. Nothing's good. Nothing's worth it. Nothing matters. And ultimately you build your suit of armor, whatever is going to allow you to work every day or go to school every day and not have to feel the things you have to feel. But what I found in my personal life is that armor is so strong that you will never feel anything bad, but you also will never feel anything good. You agree with that?
That's definitely a lot of what she's going through. That's why she ends up in some rough situations, I think, towards the end of like where the run is right now.
Yeah.
That's why the Shadow King is able to get so much power over her. What is his name? Because I hate that I just keep calling him Shadow King.
His name is had it here. It is
Kageyama? Good like that?
Shinobu? Yeah, Kageyama. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shinobu Kageyama. But the other thing that I wanted to mention before we get off Hasiko, first thing, like Hisako.
Close enough.
Hisako. Her design is pretty plain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think on purpose. I think she's meant to be a regular girl playing Jane kind of situation there. But yeah, like
she doesn't want to stand out. She doesn't want attention. She doesn't want to. She's just trying to be a fucking teenager.
But I feel like that's the interesting thing about the arc because again, we're not fighting for all mutant kind. We're this book is about the battle of a girl's soul. It's about like this eternal battle of a girl's soul and what corrupts it, what puts you at those depths, those shadowy depths. It's when she encounters the Shadow King, there is almost a level of I deserve this. There's almost a level of this is not surprising that the ghost of Tsubasa has come and she
has a lot of guilt that she just,
and that's unfortunate as well. I think so. She's definitely a flawed character, not in the sense of I don't think that she does like morally reprehensible things, but she's flawed in herself. She feels flawed, and having to navigate that, like it's a small scale battle that means the most. Does that make any sense? Is it the intimacy that does that, or is it the idea that most of us has kind of been through something like this before?
No, a little of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely very. Yeah, it's like she's fighting for herself, but also ultimately in a much larger battle that like she's not even really aware of. She's just living her day-to-day life trying to survive and being haunted and shit. And meanwhile, she's like involved in literally like the most grand scale thing that's happening in the entire fucking world. Sorry, I don't know why I swear so much.
You're good. I'm passionate.
But yeah, like she has no idea that she has some grand role, like somehow taking down the Maker eventually with all these other superheroes around the world. But like, she's just got to get over herself first.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's all that matters to her right now.
And sometimes that is, like I said again, getting that pep talk, having somebody say, "I see you. You're not who you see yourself as in the worst days that you have," and that can go kind of both ways, in both the good and the bad, because I do think that that's what Shinobu. I do think that's what Shinobu dealt with. The Shadow King. Now we're able to move on to him for a little bit, but he was born with the ability to read minds, enter minds, project illusions.
Yeah,
I think a little bit of all that.
Yeah.
And this terrified his mother to the point that I believe she wanted to kill him.
Yeah, I think so.
And so then they are both welcomed into the Children of the Atom cult. These people that are experimenting to create Homo Superior. And in their induction into said cult, they give the Shadow King purpose. He goes from being this kid with a cursed ability that no one can understand and therefore he should probably be dead to, oh, this is like the one-man internet for our entire organization. He's very high regarded. Everyone knows him in that group. What do you think about just that inverse of that support and where we look for it sometimes and how that kind of walks into where we end up?
And I think it's sad because like really asking for any of this. I don't think he's the one who said like, I need all this attention. I need to be like the center of the cult. Like I said before, he kind of has creepy vibes. We talked about that.
I think there's a lot of creepy vibes with the Shadow King in this.
And I think that's, I don't know, his mom kind of creeps me out. And I think that he probably has had too much influence from his mom's pressures and expectations and things. Mm-hmm. And then he has retreated literally into his own closet. Like the boy is hiding in his closet, like being creepy.
Yeah, he's found his muse, and his muse is Hisako. Hisako. I'm going to get that right.
Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, he's found his muse in that, and I know, I mean, like, I've also remember that kind of stuff. I remember being super young, right? And I'm talking about like younger than the people in this book, because I think I reached a level of, shake off my stuff on my shoulders. I reached a level of emotional maturity at certain points in my life. And one of the things I had to learn is just because George likes someone doesn't mean that person has to like George. That was a very big thing I had to learn. And I'm still
working on that lesson. I think everyone.
And I feel like, he's not there yet. Right? He likes Hisako and therefore it should be his. And the fact that she isn't is like we were talking about before, imbalance in justice. You know, he's done all this for the cult. Why can't he live a happy life? Why aren't the girls talking to him? Stuff. Shadow King is deliberately drawn to be dorky, a little overweight.
Absolutely.
I don't want to judge the man too much, but
insecure and like awkward, more so than other. Doesn't fit in. They remember him from middle school.
Kind of, right?
Yeah,
he's like in the background of their memories.
Oh, you? Like, what? Where are you popping up from again? Because, like, just that weird kid from middle school, like, right. That's a thing that you can kind of imagine. Like, the weird kid from middle school showed back up a few years later. Like, that's
you wouldn't connect dots to him being the neuro link for the entire cult that's also going on in the background.
but God, just the influence that kind of thing has. I mean, is it a parallel to religion? I mean, obviously, it's literally a cult, and I would not call religions cults, but
That's their faces.
I don't think religions have faces. The people who follow the religion have faces.
Yes.
But no, I don't find all religions to be culty, but I do question the influence that these kind of things can have over impressionable children at that age, and especially with parents that are really pushing and pressuring you, how you can kind of sometimes, like, teenagers might miss the mark and go in the wrong direction, even if it's not a cult, even if it is a good positive influence. Like, you can't center your whole life around this one thing and this, like, meeting what your parents expect of you, and like just the one thing that you've been taught since childhood. Like, you have to go out and experience more of the world. I don't think he gets any of that. He's literally just in his bedroom and in his cult. And I think that a little bit of like spending time with these other kids,
touch grass,
could
Are you telling Kageyama to go touch grass?
Kageyama. It's Shinobu.
Shadow King. I'm going with their regular X-Men names. Moving forward, I will not be held responsible. Hey.
We don't all have direct X-Men.
I will figure them out. There you go. But that exploration, that touch grass moment, right? That exploration of the world outside of yours, I feel like you only really get that when you're trying to make sense of the world. And if someone is making sense of the world for you, then there's really no desire to come outside of your bubble. If someone's saying, "Oh, I know what you're feeling and you're right. There is something wrong." And guess what? It's those people. Those people are the ones. Instantly, you have all of your, worst emotions confirmed. You were always right. There was nothing ever wrong. There's no need for introspection. What are you doing?
Confirmation biases.
Yeah. And you got to believe that happens here in this cult. He has this power.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Right? And they're giving him purpose. Screw everyone at the school who hates me.
But he's
this
not.
Cult is telling me.
I don't think he's entirely like that. I think there are times where they start to approach him with like, "What the fuck, kid?" And he's just like, well, like, especially when he's seeing the cult and stuff, and like, then he starts hearing about like they're gonna do stuff to Hisako, and he's like, "Wait a minute, like what?" Like, he starts to pull back from the cult. He doesn't actually want to be there anymore. He starts to question things, and I think that like there's a lot of room for character growth for him. I want to see that. I want to believe that that is possible, because there are so much bigger things at stake in this universe. And I would love to see how powerful he could be on the right side of history.
What will it take for you to? What do you think it'll take for the Shadow King to gain more fans, to turn over a new leaf in this instance?
I mean,
is it complete denouncement of the cult? Is it? I mean, he can start by stop freaking stalking.
Yeah,
armor.
I think that is an excellent opportunity for storytelling that like opens up on that, and I think that Peach can definitely like touch that. I don't want to use the I word. I
don't know which I word you're using.
Incel. I'm trying not to use the I word.
Yeah.
I feel like there's room to start that discussion here about like, hey, how do we move past that? So we're here. What next? Like, how can we rectify this? You've started down a really dark path here, but we can take a few steps back. And I think there's a point where after Hisako is with him at the cult and stuff is happening, where all the other girls are like fighting them. And I think that is that direction. Like, people just being like, hey, what you're doing is wrong, and like, we can show you something better. There's a lot of kids in the cult who are denouncing it, who are stepping away from it.
They know anything about it,
including Surge, right? So like, people, she's like his only friend. She's the only one who talks to him. And it's ironic because she deals with these creepy ass men all day, and then not all day, but I mean, she's still a kid.
But I hear that that's also
creepy men, and then is still capable of being friends with him. So it's like,
Well, I almost that almost kind of makes sense to me though, right? Because
she's not like creeped out by him. She's like, yeah, whatever.
So
Shinobu.
while she's creeped out by her clientele because she does like do like the girlfriend service kind of stuff.
She's kind of escorting.
It's kind of escorting, but they also have like a very specific kind of companionship in Japan that you can like rent.
I mean,
it doesn't have to be explicitly
that exists here too.
But you get what I mean. Like, yes. The gimmick is like just companionship, and I feel like sometimes here it's a little bit more risque. I'm not saying either one is over the other, but I feel like in understanding that need from adults, that they need that, I don't see why she wouldn't then deduce that
Shadow but she King doesn't treat him like she treats, or she speaks about, or treats the like two clients that we see her with.
You think what is that sympathy?
No, I think it's like just like they have something, not sympathy, maybe just empathy. Like they have something in common. They're kids stuck in this cult, and she sees him as more of an equal and not a creep. And maybe she's a creep too. I don't know. I guess.
Well, she also has a bit of a superiority complex, right? Because when she talks about getting her powers and being one of the chosen and all that kind of stuff, I do believe that similarly to him, she believes she has a purpose, and thus she's already above most people, especially her clientele.
So
who she kills.
She considers him an equal because they both have similar purpose in the cult.
Yes, and as you say that, it makes sense in almost every other aspect, right?
I guess.
Like supremacists being cool with each other, even though they're not, because we're in the same cult. You're not the creepy guy. Like that guy's the creepy guy. You're one of our guys.
I know, there's just something about like the type of creep they portray him to be, where he's stalkerish with Hisako, and the type of like creepy man shit that she deals with, and then for them to just be cool together is, I
feel like she says a couple things about it, maybe nothing enough to shame him out of it,
but kind of like, hey, like you be better than this, like, just for fucking creep, but fucking stop it.
You know who's better than all this? My favorite character in this book, a character that I've always been talking about, my girl right here, Maystorm, Mei Agarashi, aka Maystorm. Love this girl. I love what she brings to this book. She brings a playfulness and a. Did you like literally get to the point of her origin? I think you literally opened to her origin. She is too cool for school. She's empathetic. I like her character design. She instantly idolizes the Storm of that universe, and thus gets her Maystorm sort of name there. Yeah. We get a bit of a background to how her powers manifested. She is a blood something or other, like blood transfusion or whatever, because she gets scratched by the cat. She gets scratched by Kageyama's cat, who also has a bunch of writings and stuff on him, on Shadow King's cat, and and thus that's seemingly where she got her powers from. Yes, because
that is true. I do remember
when she gets cut, when she gets scratched by the cat, she then lays down, and they make it a point to like focus on her arm while she is laying in recovery, and you see like little squiggles as if like things are
love a good squiggle.
Things are permeating in her body. You can see it. You can see it there.
Yeah, because that's before her hair and stuff.
Yeah. So she goes to bed, and then a bunch of stuff happens to her arm, and then she gets into not gets into an argument. She hears an argument going on downstairs between her parents. Her mom basically accusing her dad of infidelity, cheating, and she's like, "Well, then why don't you just leave his ass?" And her mom hits her. Like, don't ever disrespect your father. What a weird dynamic there. But I've been there as well. I think you get angst, and you may see things a bit more black and white than your parents do. And so when they are muddied in the gray, sometimes you feel like shaking one of them, being like, I hate each other and stop messing with each other, kind of stuff. And that almost comes as like a cry for help in that instance of like, get it together. Like, I'm doing what I got to do over here. I'm not bothering you guys, but it's taking a toll on me. She gets hit by her mom, and then her mutant powers manifest, and she basically makes it pour inside her home. Her father calls her a freak, kicks her out. And her hair changes to white. And basically from a certain point in the story, she's like house hopping, hanging out with Nico for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, going to different places.
Staying at her grandma's house.
Staying at her grandma's house. Yeah. Because her grandma's like, well, I can't let you come in at all times of the night or whatever the heck. I'm like, yeah, that's grandma's. Totally grandma's. But yeah, she's the first one to like stand up for Hisako, because all this the car incident that we're talking about, the car incident that we were talking about is an inciting incident because it gets captured on the news. And so everyone is looking for quote unquote armor girl, the girl with the armor that caused this. Another incident happens. Like we were talking about, social media is a big part of this. And instead of like treating her like a pariah, May's like, that's cool. And like kind of shows off her power at one point. They go to like explore the abandoned school to see if they can find clues as to the shadow guy. Because he's leaving all these notes of like, meet me at her spot.
Yeah, he tells them to meet them there.
Yeah. But it's all that's just like a maze, like a dark maze that he's pulling them through.
Their attention. He's also trying to bring people to the cult, right? But
I don't know about in this
maybe
instance.
Not necessarily Hisako, but like that's what he's doing. But I think it kind of implies like if he could like get her into. It's like, hey girl, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me tell you about like.
Do you think there's any of that like you were mean to a boy, and girls who are mean to boys deserve the worst? Because I've also kind of heard that in some of the more incel-y circles, right? Like you rejected a guy, you deserve to fall off a cliff, kind of stuff. You know, so it's like how much of this. Because he speaks as if he's doing this for Tsubasa, and that I don't believe that.
Yeah, no.
This is from more of a deep-seated,
especially when later is like helped like talk Tsubasa and like no, I think he always had like a crush on her or whatever, and just is just being a creep. I don't know.
But I feel like in that instance of a crush, you come in and say, "Oh, Tsubasa's gone. How about me?" This feels like he's angry at her for what she's done to another guy, which also feels like. Again, like a reactor, right? Watching a guy on the internet propose and then the girl says ew or no, right? Then you go look at these women. They just, all they care about is like every worst thing you've ever heard on the internet. I feel like happens here. And I may cause him out for being a creep constantly. But back on her before we finish up with her. I think she is
talk about her more. What else do you want to say?
I want to say that I think, like other characters in this and the X-Men outright, she is looking for her found family. And I think it starts with Armor. Hai-chan, I can say. Armor. And, but ultimately will end up being a group of Children of the Atom refugees, would you call them?
Yeah.
And finds purpose in that. So I think that's kind of powerful there in and of itself. Something that she couldn't even find in her own home. That acceptance, that love, that purpose, that push forward. She's trying to give to other people because there's another thing about her. I feel like she inherently knows what's right and what's wrong.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's quick
she has a strong sense of justice.
That is wrong. She
comes in and she's like the Rufio to their lost boy.
Yes. And Armor is pretty lost. So it makes a lot of sense.
He's a great friend to her. I think, Mei really brings all of them together.
Yeah. But
she's more of like the Magneto.
She also brings a level of playfulness, though, that I don't think comes from almost anyone else but Mori. I guess we could talk about.
Yeah.
But
Natsu's
very serious. Nico's a goth. We'll get into all these characters, but Nico's a goth, so she's not trying to tell too many jokes. Armor's in her own head all the time. She rarely speaks, if ever. And so, yeah, I think that I think another interesting part of this story is that they allow us to meet and, dare I say, fall in love with members of the Children of the Atom. Members like Natsu. To kind of show that it's not a clean cut, black and white thing. And I think it's also to say, and not to be too hyperbolic, but right now there's division in this country. regardless of what you want to consider it, whether it's political division, social division, class division, you know. And I think in those cases, it's really easy to generalize whole sides, right? All poor people are, all rich people are, all black people are, etc. And by giving us people to root for on both sides, they've shown us how gray all this can be.
Absolutely.
Because I at one point thought that's what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be May's Armor and her friends against the evil kids in the Children of the Atom.
I could see that.
And it's ultimately not. It's
not
like
at all.
It's like we haven't even got like a big fight yet, but it's currently the Children of the Atom fighting for their own autonomy because the world sees them as freaks and has read all this stuff about this cult, things that again they can't really be blamed for because they know nothing but the cult. Right? It's the equivalency of someone going into a church and reading all the horrible things that the Catholic Church has done.
Yeah,
right?
And just blaming modern Christians for the crusade.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know?
Like
so you have a little bit of that going on, and these kids are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, if it is that, and first, a lot of it is like, hey, mom, is this true?
Yeah, and then they're like...
That kid burned his mom alive.
They are seeing all of this stuff happening in real time around the world. They're not, like... censored in this little like bubble like many cults have been throughout history where they don't have any access to like anything. The internet is just everywhere. You can't escape it. They all see what's happening and they're just not interested. Like they see that their parents are brainwashed.
Yeah.
I think that's a very modern thing. Like that is something that is happening from the millennial generation and Gen Z and man, these kids nowadays.
I mean,
this next generation is intense and they are going to call us out on every fucking hypocrisy that we have ever had.
They are well-meaning. I say well-meaning, I mean like in the sense of like not actively trying to murder people, but they're like well-meaning QAnon conspiracy people. And those people have children. And those children rely on their parents to tell them the way of the world. So
until they don't.
Until you hope that there comes a point where someone can present a mirror to them so they can see who they are. But you don't know who you are until you get that comparison.
I love that it shows both sides of that and how mass social media can both be uplifting for these like the children of the atom children and then also like tearing down Armor and her friends because of the like doxing and like all this bullshit that they have to put up with. And then you got Yukio just running around like filming shit like totally in between, not on either side, but just a catalyst of everything that's happening with the social media.
Yeah. And with the Children of the Atom at one point, because another big arc in this, and it's probably the biggest arc in the first like 2 volumes, is this idea that one of the experiments was discarded in possibly the worst way possible. They were put in a suitcase, and I think thrown in the river, and they wash up. And they're found by a detective whose sister is a woman named Kanon.
I assume.
Kanon. And she's the Cyclops of this. Kanon. And she's a Cyclops of this universe. Oh, sorry, Psylocke of this universe.
Yeah.
In this book, she claims to be a descendant of like a great samurai, But I think that's an interesting thing to carry over into this because everything else is so grounded, and she pops up in portals and shit all the time. Like she just shows up. I love her. Look, she's like wearing like a sports gi the entire time, and instead of the Sai sword, she has like a bat with nails in it that she manifests. And
beautiful.
She is the edgy girl in the. I thought Nico was.
You think it's Nico, but Nico is like a little sweetheart, basically.
No, Psylocke is the one that kind of.
Psylocke is broken.
She comes up to Armor and is like, "Let's go, let's fight. I heard you have powers, and you're not gonna win like this if you never, practiced them, tried them out, or any of that kind of stuff." She also has a hard life. It's just her and her brother. Her brother's the one, like I said again, the detective that finds the meat case.
What's his name?
I wrote it down somewhere. But you want to talk about the meat case a little bit while I look for that?
Oh God, what to even say about meat case?
It's detective. Go ahead.
What?
Detective.
That is not right. That's not his name.
That's his last name because that's her last name.
Okay, what's his first name?
I'm not asking that.
Well, maybe you should have written down his first name.
Detective Seinuchi. You don't got nothing better. Tsunaki?
Where is it?
Here.
Inochi?
Is that much different than what I said?
I mean, I'm sorry. But what's his name? It starts with a T.
Tony.
Why would his name be Tony?
Is it a Japanese name?
Go to bed.
I can't. I have a show to do.
Of course, it's a Japanese name.
I have a show to do.
Did you just ask me if the Japanese character has a Japanese name? You can't pronounce his last name. First name's gonna be Tony. Boy, what?
You've not given me anything on this. Know. All I'm saying is. All I'm saying. No. Is it
something
Tanaka?
Weird like that? Like
the book is there. He's not in it at that.
This book.
No, he's not. Oh, he's not. But seemingly routine day on the, routine day, right? Where, found a piece of body parts. Gotta turn this in.
I think that he literally quits the.
No, but what I'm saying is, he quits it because the very next day Viper shows up with an NDA.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what I meant by typical day is in that instance he did everything he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But he gets NDA'd by the children of the Atom.
Came by and just out. There's been a super house. He just casually takes his sister, we're just going to clean up trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has the Children of the Atom logo marked on the human skin and a number. And I believe even Surge has a number.
Yes.
So, they're numbering their experiments. It's so weird the pride Surge has in being a. Am I talking crazy right now? In the sense I've not realized the actual parallels in the world.
No,
being the best racist or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
but
number system, putting a number, tattooing numbers on.
Fascist.
Out of it.
Yes. But she also lives a
privileged life because of it, yes.
Yeah.
So it's ironic. It's this poor girl doesn't even know what she's involved in, and it's sad that she's a child, but she's so engrossed in this trash.
Yeah. With Psylocke, I'm not saying that name. With Psylocke, one of the moments that caught me off guard was she wasn't home and she's just in the streets, running the streets, and he's I know where she's at, she's at that store, 8 o'clock at night or whatever like that. She's just a teenage girl or whatever. She's completely taking everything on her own here in this instance, and they were set to leave. He dips. You say he quits the force, and he's we need to get them out of here because the people who are able to give us that kind of NDA have way more power than we think, and who knows what's next to come of that kind of stuff.
Does she care? No,
she don't give a damn.
She goes straight to the running around talking about it, showing people, sharing pictures. Look what me and my brother found.
Yeah.
She don't give a fuck.
She is the one who actually leaks #meatcase. She deletes it from her phone, and she's I deleted it. That's what she said. I deleted it, and it's that's on there forever, girl. And now everyone knows about it, and thus there's now more scrutiny on the Children of the Atom. And then you have the Maestro out there saying and doing more, who, by the way, starts to resemble Mr. Sinister as the book continues.
Yes.
What is that about?
He's so creepy. I can't picture quite what Disney villain. And it's a very Disney villain vibe.
He's drawn the guy from Ratatouille.
The critic guy.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
And he doesn't look like anyone else in the book.
Oh.
He might be American. That might be his distinction, is that he's American and that's why he looks that way. But I got no vibes of charismatic leader like Eric, or brave, stalwart like Xavier.
I don't like.
Do you buy his Kool-Aid? Is what I'm saying. Did any of his stuff like make sense?
No, not at all.
He's drinking blood too. He's constantly drinking mutant kids' blood. It's really weird.
Metaphorically and literally drinking his own Kool-Aid.
Yes. I like that. Yeah.
No, but I don't like the idea of him being sinister because I really like Sinister.
Oh, I thought you meant as like a descriptor.
No, as
like I'm pretty sure he's sinister regardless of whether or not you like it. But it would tie in, right? The geneticist, the experimentation, like all of that is there.
I don't like it. Just that.
I'm wondering why you like those elements of regular Sinister. I think that's the bigger question here.
Oh my god, I'm going to show you some. Like, Krakoa Sinister is top tier.
Long-haired, bearded Sinister. I call him John Wick Sinister.
The feathery cape thing, yes.
Yeah, that's what Homeboy starts to rock. That's why I say he looks like Mr. Sinister. His cape thing starts to go into strands.
I feel like
stuff behind
I'm like just seeing myself on camera doing things.
Being an axolotl or whatever is going on over there.
Not an axolotl. Yeah, I don't like it, but I see what you're saying, and I definitely like. I think I would just not pick up on that because I like Sinister and I don't like this guy. So like that's just my bias, ignoring that. But you're probably right.
I just don't get charisma from him. I don't get like
no, he doesn't have that, and like that Krakoa Sinister is just so fucking good, and he's
even Magneto, right? My brothers, it is, they are trying to push us down, and
a lot of the the entire cast, good and bad, they're just all amazing characters. In typical X-Men and in this universe, just so good.
It's so crazy though that even with all the lore, 60 plus years of lore with the X-Men, that she still had to basically start from scratch.
I mean, yes, but also just being able to freshly take whatever elements you want and scrap whatever you don't is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, how lucky is she to have that privilege that she can just tear it apart and build it back up however she wants to?
No, you're right about that because, we talk about that when it comes to the lore that you're dragged down with when you get on a book like this, right? Yeah. Like, for all that, I love Krakoa. I love Jonathan Hickman. Actually, just covered him for Ultimate Spider-Man. And that's big shoes for the next person to follow. They have to remember and read everything that happened there to give people the catharsis and closure that they need for some of these characters that they followed through Krakoa. In this, you don't need any background. I don't think on X-Men, even in general, to read this and enjoy it. What do you think?
No, not at all.
No?
No, because like she just so freshly introduces all of the characters and like this is who they are, and you don't have to know any of the original characters. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that it might even be better to come into this not knowing the characters. Like I would love to introduce someone to X-Men and just be like, try this. Like this is, you've never read X-Men? Here you go. What do you think? Because like that fresh take on like just all these characters for the first time, that'd be so cool.
It's really hard for me to figure out how all this is going to wrap up.
Like in cohesively with all the other Ultimate?
Both. It wrap up its own arcs and then also step into everything else. All I could think of is if they get to a point where we can completely eradicate the Children of the Atom, and then May runs her own sort of mutant resistance against the leader. That eventually Armor would join and stuff like that.
I can see that.
But yeah, I want to briefly talk about my girl Natsu. Again, like cool as hell. The track jacket, the X-Men kind of the blue and yellow track jacket, that's lit. The eye patch, like the very thin paper eye patch, super fucking cool. She gets a can thrown at her, and before it gets able to hit her, she just lasers it. Bomb ass moment. And she's very stoic, very quiet. She hangs out with Mori because they're both in the Children of the Atom. And this is one of our first like normal people who's all like, "Oh yeah, that cult, I'm in it." Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because they've been chill, cool. They're not like, hey,
casually, like, oh yeah, like involved in that super terrible thing that's happening. Like, whatever. It's not like it's just some dumb thing my parents do.
Basically,
yeah.
It's like someone's bringing up a Hillsong. You know, you're like, oh, Hillsong, I go to Hillsong or whatever. You're like, but they're also involved in a bunch of other stuff.
Sorry for you.
That's what I'm saying. They're also involved in a bunch of other stuff that you don't think you're signing up for when you're just going for your Sunday, your Sunday mass. So I love that you get someone like that, Natsu, and her mother's actively like banging on the door, talking about like more supremacist leader, maestro stuff when she is accidentally murdered by Natsu, her daughter, who in
true Cyclops fashion.
Yeah.
Oops, I accidentally shot you with my eye lasers.
Yeah, but the saddest part about that whole depiction, first of all, monstrous depiction, nightmare stuff.
Absolutely.
Nightmare stuff. But also, once it happens and she starts to emote, she can't stop herself from desecrating the body. What would you call that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So you have like this very pained moment with this character, and then you, even in like the depths of her grief, her body is still betraying her. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like all of her gifts, quote unquote, is still betraying her. And then how do you tie that in? We also find out in the moment where she gets the can thrown at her, she accidentally killed someone before. She accidentally killed someone in her class.
Did it say killed? Or it said they were injured and then did they eventually die from it later?
It could have been that. I know that the accusation thrown at her is killer. That's a killer move, or you're a killer, or something like that.
Yeah.
When before the thing happens with her mom, and then that's when Maury's like, "Hey, I haven't heard from her for a while. I think she ran away. Something like this happened once before." And oh my god, the heartbreak of the text. Yeah, I'm not coming over. I'm sorry, I did something really, really bad. See you when I see you.
And then like, I don't think I've gotten far enough to see where she went. Have they found?
You eventually find her. Yeah, you eventually find her.
Maybe I'm just a little bit behind you.
Yeah, probably like an issue or so.
But yeah, I mean, just seeing the girls go over to her house and like her mom's body's not there, so obviously she's like done something with it, and just imagining like a 14-year-old girl going through like murdering her mother and then having the body, and what the fuck is she doing with it? Did she go back to the cult? Like just all this, like, oh my god, all the things she must be going through. That's just terrible.
And Peach is able to display this bloodlessly.
Yeah,
because of the cauterization of the wounds.
Yeah,
she literally turned her mom into Swiss cheese. Yeah, crazy.
And talk about weapons.
Yeah, crazy stuff. For a second here, just to BS a bit, what are some like panels you remember, art wise or whatever? To me, what always has stood out, give you some time to think, is the Shadow King. Whenever he's just popping out with his eye, or a shadow is emerging from places,
the contrast of like his shadows and then like the rest of the color world happening. I think she does really well with like displaying pain and misery and what he's putting into the world, just through the art style and stuff like that.
And she also gives him like a taunting nature.
Yeah.
It seems like this ethereal, never know when it's going to pop, almost like a conscience in a lot of ways, but it is the worst conscience to have, because this is not a real one. This is one that's only going to berate you and knock you down and remind you of the worst parts about yourself in order to romance. Like, that's what I'm saying. What is his end goal with this, with her? I think he's punishing her. I honestly think he's punishing her.
I don't think he's trying
for his gender.
I don't think he's trying to. I don't think that he is in a way like, I don't, as like blowing his and he has big emotions about her. She's like the object of his obsession and his stalking and everything, but I don't think that he thinks of it in a malicious way or in an angry way. I think his anger at her is that she's not seeing his perspective. But I don't think he like blames her or treats her.
But why is he like taunting her. Is this your pulling the girl's hair theory?
It's maybe like his obsession with her and his.
But you don't go like, and you're poor.
Well, no,
you know,
like
I
think he's trying to break her. He's trying to get her to cult.
Interesting. At one point, I think
because that's what he's trained to do is mentally break these people and invite them into the cult where they're going to be brainwashed because their spirit has been broken.
I know that is corrupting her is a big part of it.
Searching for exactly. So I think that's just what he's been trained to do by all the adults that he trusts, and that's what he is trained and purposed to do. He has been weaponized, and so while he is a kid who has like an obsessive disorder where he's like stalking this girl, he is also weaponized to brainwash people or like break people so that they can be brainwashed. So I think it's just a very sad combination of his circumstances and the things that have happened to him and the things he's going through as a teenager, combined with all these awful adults that have, instead of nurturing him and supporting him, weaponized him and turned him into something evil and awful, and that's just all that he knows now. So how could he possibly do anything else? Like, how could he treat, even if he legitimately loved this girl and it was not like a creepy thing?
You don't think he's been given the tools? I don't think he's
even capable of just building a normal relationship at this point. Yeah.
Sometimes people online just say the line, be normal.
Yeah,
just be normal.
You just fucking be normal. Yeah. But no, he really just can't. I don't know.
That's an interesting perspective. I get this like bully.
I don't know why I have this sympathy for him. I don't know where this is coming from.
I get this bully vibe from him. I get this like, because then, you know, is it revealed in the fullness of time that he got to Tsubasa's tormentors to kill themselves?
Yeah. He is the one. He got the teacher. He haunted the teacher and got him to kill himself. And he did the same thing to the other middle school kids. And so
that's why I wonder if that's the goal there for Hisako. But he says Hisako. He says my Hisako.
Yes, because he's obsessed with her because that's objectifying thing.
Women aren't property.
She is.
An official ComicBookClique. I disappeared when I said that. So
you're not real. Yeah, it didn't work.
No. Too visible.
Yeah, I think that is a mental disorder. That is like
social skills.
His like obsession, his creepy obsessive thing. I think that if instead of turning that against like people, like his mother would have done something to support him and like, but I don't think parents notice that kind of thing. I mean, as a kid, you're not just sitting there like, Mom, I'm obsessed with this girl.
Well, here's the thing. You just sparked an idea in my head.
So glad.
And I'm always completely like off base. That's why I like to bounce my ideas off of my friends. But could this in itself be a sort of analog for parasocial relations? Considering that he can watch her at any point in time, thinks that he's in on whatever episode of, you know, Armor that he's watching. Yeah. That's his. Yeah. That's his Armor. You know, you see like how not to get their army against us, but like Swifties, right? Yeah. And like there are people who melted down when she got married because they were like, well, now my chance is gone. Engaged, sorry. But you understand? She was like, now my chance is gone. And it's like, what do you... Or like Tay-Tay, congratulations, Tay-Tay. You know,
like, or like doesn't deserve her, like that kind of thing. Yeah, that's.
And think about it like that.
Watching people, so everybody is basically he's just watching a bunch of streamers in his head. Yeah. So like his disconnect from reality is just so strong and so emphasized by all the bullshit that he's been put through.
And because he has that barrier, or he perceives to have that barrier, he can say and do horrible things under the guise of his screen name, Shadow King, or whatever the heck. Exactly. You know, and he could be horrible to women. He can say the worst things to come, and still in a twisted way feel like he has a entitlement to the people that he's locked in on when watching.
I don't think he ever thinks that.
Something wrong?
Not necessarily something wrong. I can't speak to a sense of right and wrong necessarily.
You can and you will. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry. I think that. Oh God, I don't even know what I was going to say now. You distracted me.
Sense of right and wrong. You don't think he's ever seen his actions as?
I don't think that he's seeing his actions like anything harming Taco. I think that ultimately, yeah, like he's part of this cult and he's just like gonna recruit her to be on his side and like he's gonna get her to see the world the way it really is and like see his perspective. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know,
to do that, he has to tear her down. I'm not saying it's right,
so,
but he thinks so. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he thinks so. He thinks that like he needs to break her of, you know, what her current worldview in order to like get her to see his side. Like she's just like he has to disillusion her from what she sees in the rest of the world.
You know, you also bring up another thing that happens on the internet a lot, which is the idea of like moral posturing. So there could be this idea in his head of like, you're not that good. You have just as much darkness in you as I do. As a matter of fact, you made a kid kill himself. I feel like
he does say something very similar.
Yeah, like you made a kid kill. It's like, get over yourself. You understand?
Yeah, we both like we did that together. We both did a role.
Yeah,
and like we have so much in common. Maybe you should like join me over here. But then when he realizes that the cult has her and like he hears Viper and not Sinister talking about her, he's like literally wakes up out of a coma. Like, the fuck you mean? You're talking about my girl like that? What do you mean you're doing what to her? And like, I think that's kind of the turning point for him then, where he's kind of starting to be disillusioned by what he thought was doing the right thing the whole time, because he had this noble cause that was underlying, like, I have to break her so that she can see the truth. And now he's like,
no, the truth's not the truth.
Wait a minute, like, you're not doing what you're not doing what you said you would. Like, you're breaking promises to me and you're fucking shit up now. Like, this isn't what I thought was going to happen to her. And so I think his obsession for her and his own mental health things that he's got going on there are like going to overshadow going to overshadow what the trauma that he has been going through with the cult, and like hopefully pull him back from that. As all the other children around him are rebelling and seeing really going on. Eventually,
his full arc has to involve giving Armor back her agency. Like understanding the importance of that, and understanding he needs to back the away, you know, and allow her to live her life. But
is Armor in that Gabby story that I talked about earlier?
I have no idea because I didn't know what story you were talking about earlier.
I know.
But what I will say is that watching him go, I guess, in the lens that we just put him in, I have a little bit more sympathy for him, only because I know these people actually exist. You know, who have like these deep parasocial bonds with celebrities that are one way, that they are watching them the entire time. And a bunch of their anger sometimes towards these people is, like you said again, expectation. You weren't supposed to do that. You weren't supposed to say that. You weren't supposed to. What
do you mean you're not exactly like this on and off camera all the time? Like, you have a real personality. Like, you're not allowed to be someone else. You're this person I thought you were. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see a lot of that with
that. I can't even imagine how traumatic that is to a person who has that strong of a disconnect from reality. Like, that has to be just.
Imagine if you were the only person.
Breakdown, basically.
Yeah. Imagine if you were the only person that you know that has access to a Twitch-like app where you can see what everyone's doing all the time. And of course, in that young age like that, you would go to your classmates. You know, you would go and so this is the cute girl in school and he doesn't know what to do. He has no social skills.
So I think that he had these like powers back in middle school?
That he had it when he was a baby. That his mother wanted to kill him. Yeah, it's from the very beginning.
That's true.
She didn't know what was going on with him, and his mother wanted to kill him. Yeah. And he's literally like hooked up, right? Like he literally taps in Matrix style to like observe or manipulate. And it
looks very cerebral. Honestly,
but it's also
that was my first thought. Yeah.
It's also like
because he's like a kid. Like, he made this shit in his closet.
It's origami cerebro.
But then he has it going on in his closet. Anything, drawings of Taco. And then he has literal adults that are like really hardwiring him into the entire mutant network, basically. That's like,
and some of it, at one point, I believe, is revealed to be almost like against his will. Because he at one point straight up passes out.
Mm-hmm. And they just do it all to him unconscious.
Yeah.
They think he's unconscious while they have him hooked up there. And I think that's the point where he gets up and breaks out. And he finds like Akiro and stuff. Yeah.
So, maybe there's
Which
some hope
also, I thought that was Logan. Like, when it first shows him and like the panel and he's just laying there, he looks like Logan.
Yeah.
He basically is Logan. But little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there might be something for Shadow King at the end of this, if, like I said, if he can understand that agency. But through that lens, a lot of his actions make a lot more sense. Through the lenses that we've explored here, with the idea of how internet has made people, have this sort of parasocial relationship with others, and then how that can be twisted into a weird sense of entitlement. And then when that entitlement isn't granted, the harshness that comes with it. How we treat these celebrities, the things that we say. I've seen some of the things that they say to these wrestling women. They're absolutely ridiculous, And so they're still able to have massive stakes in a story this compact, this intimate. And I can't wait to continue reading it. It's the best thing in the world that it only comes out once a month, and it's the worst thing in the world that it only comes out once a month.
Yeah.
I've been reading it month to month.
I have not, and so it was nice to get all caught up, especially because like I was reading it month to month for like 4 or 5 months maybe, and then I just fell off that wagon.
You just can't maintain momentum that way. A lot happens in a month.
There's so many things to read, and then I just got so lost that I was like, I'm just gonna drop the whole universe for a while, and then I just binged it all at once. So it was so nice. Yeah.
I also want to say I thought they did some incredibly cool art with like the standoff with Surge and Mei, and that battle was getting ready. Even Surge's introduction, he like makes like a little electric spiky ball. She eats it.
I screenshotted that.
Like that was such a cool little. Like I said, these characters are drawn almost chibi, style, and they still emote a lot of attitude. A lot of them, they're still able to get a lot of attitude and personality. Through their designs. Do you wish for a happy ending for Surge? Do you wish that she comes around on all this? Or is she just meant to, live by the sword, die by the sword?
By the way, what's her name?
Her real name? Yeah. Oh, I gotta figure it out.
Okay, so Surge, I like her. I think she's cool. I think she has potential. I think that...
You like the blue hair?
Her whole style. But I think that there have to be like some bad guys, some like adversaries for like protagonists.
She almost comes in down as like a mean girl sometimes.
Absolutely. I think everyone is capable and deserving of redemption.
That's a bold statement.
Maybe not everyone.
You can't immediately take it back.
But if they want it, like anyone who legitimately
is working
recognizes error of them.
Noriko Ashida. She comes in there pretty early. But yeah, she is the bad girl. Like she's doing almost all the bad.
Oh yeah.
What you would consider, like
running the streets, doing an escort thing,
killing men. I'm assuming she's killing these guys, right? Or at least brain frying them.
Yeah, that one scene with that one guy is, that made me happy.
She has her own weird sense of justice because she thinks what they're doing is wrong, and thus she might be manipulating them in this instance. But
I think just another broken kid, though. Like she's just another kid who doesn't have. Is she the one who's living with her grandmother?
No, Mei is. Mei? Yeah.
Who does it talk about? Noriko's family?
She lives in the cult house.
Oh,
doesn't she?
I don't know.
I thought she lived in the big cult house
really
with.
Touch on where she's from.
I thought she lived in the cult house with Kageyama. No,
Kageyama.
Origato.
Origami.
Origami.
I guess I never got the impression that they all lived in the house together. I felt like it was like a church they all go to 4 days a week kind of thing.
Nah, she got hired by May's dad. What was that about? Well, that was some rough shit.
That was the point, right? That was what May's parents were fighting about, is that he's going fucking around on her. So then, like, but
in particular, the daughter's
child, a teenage girl, yes, that is all the reason that Mei should be pissed at her father.
And you know what's interesting is that the flaws that they give, or the trappings in which people fall into and gain the flaws that they give to the characters that they give those flaws to, is almost a direct result of the culture. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, her dad's not a Rolling Stone because that was a cool thing to give. That's something that's actually going on in Japan. You understand? They didn't just choose child suicide because they threw a dart against the wall. Relevant. These stuff, that they're really dealing with in there. Before we wrap up, I also want to mention that Peach does this cool thing at the end of all her comics where she gives a little bit of background, some of the cultural either events or superstitions, symbology, and I think that's really cool because a lot of it I didn't know, and it colors a lot of this stuff. Even like in the early stuff where a girl gives, a girl gives the second button, which is what boys give to girls that they have crushes on. The idea being the second button is one closest to the heart. And where would I have gotten that information from?
So, you ever given your second button?
Say the second button cuts the deepest, or I can't remember exactly how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we did a pretty good job talking about this. Is there anything you feel like is kind of hanging around? What's still left in your head in regards to Ultimate X-Men?
I mean, we said we weren't going to talk about like some of the later issues. So I'm trying to like not get into, like, we talked about is this the rogue character being introduced?
Yeah.
That whole scene, and then that got me thinking about, well, like, obviously that's, dude's girlfriend, so does that mean he's like Gambit then?
Oh,
he's a rogue.
But
that was
detective?
like the last, but that was the last issue that I read. I haven't really.
Doesn't Psylocke give him shit? Like, why'd you ever break up with that girl? She was cool. She says, like, are you still talking to her or whatever? Because that's how she gets back in the circle. Psylocke is still talking to her brother's ex. They're still friends.
Brother's ex? But he's with her in the,
I don't
cafe.
think so.
They're together.
They're together as in they're physically together. I don't think they're in a relationship together.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm almost certain.
I believe you.
You people tell me. No, because I remember them sitting on a park bench and him being like, why are you still talking to her? Because he says, like, your sister's hanging out with those people. And he goes, wait, and then he goes and talks to his sister and is like, first of all, why are you still talking to my ex or whatever? He's like, she was cool. I don't know why you guys ever broke up.
I don't remember that scene. That's funny. But yeah, like, they have great rapport together, so I agree with Noriko then.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Kanon. Like, yeah, why'd you break up with her? Y'all were good. I want to see. I just love that they're just introducing more and more characters. Like, like, as far as I am into the series, like, yes, just keep giving me more people, because that's what I love about X-Men. I love all the characters.
I also love in this, like I said, very chibi world that...
You're overusing that word.
If you need a better word, then for me.
I have one.
There you go. That you have like this young radicalization with Maystorm. Like, she's seen Storm's out in Wakanda doing revolutionary stuff, doing revolts against Wakanda and other, negative groups. And so, like, seeing her put it on her back is really, really cool. And I want to see what the rest of that looks like. I like, does she become like a cold kingpin, you know, sort of like death to them all, kind of, you know, like.
Gives me big Eric vibes. Gathering the troops, she's rallying the troops.
But for good or for bad? Like, does it stay?
Is Eric doing it for good or for bad?
I think it starts off. I mean, I don't even know how it starts off, to be honest. He has a lot of anger towards.
He's pretty
humans.
old. I don't know.
He has a lot of anger towards humans.
Yeah.
I don't think Mei has that.
No, but the people that she's gathering do.
Yes, but it's her job as leader to quell that, hopefully.
Or she's gonna
not feed into it.
Not maybe feed into it, but like use it.
Use their fervor to
hone whatever.
But you can't hone that anger to turn into a bake sale.
What, right, but because they're already like turning it against their parents. Like they're already like have a lot of anger and
a bunch of unfocused lasers.
Basically, that's all teenagers, right?
She's got it.
Yeah. So I think that she's going to be a really strong leader there, and she's going to help them figure out how to turn like being a mutant into something good and like reshape what that means for their place in the world. I mean, because I think a lot of that, like, I think a lot of these like teenager centric things, I know a lot of people have problems watching things that are like centered on young adult and teenagers and stuff. I remember when the Walking Dead series came out that was just based on like the teenagers and stuff. And I loved it. I love young people. I think that like, I mean, that's the future. We were all young people. Like, why would you not, like, how could you not relate to those things? And, but then to also, as an adult, look at like what young people are going through now and also see what we can't relate to so that we can have that connection to what our youth are going through. So I really like it when media is centered on a group of young people like that and appropriately touching on all of the like modern issues, I guess. If that makes sense. So, what was I originally talking about? God, I'm so bad at this. Why?
You're just talking about how some people have an inability to connect with young adult stuff, but they shouldn't because they have they've experienced it themselves, and if they can connect back to that younger person of themselves, they might be able to have more empathy towards young people going through
and also things. To be able, like, these kids are the future. They're building on what we've already done.
Yeah.
So these young teenage X-Men are building on, you know, the X-Men foundations that we already know, even though it's a completely different story. Mm-hmm. But also, like, there's literally in world, like, taking what their parents have given them and reshaping it. And I think there's just a lot of power in that, I guess.
Yeah.
I think young people just have so much power, and so often we just try to like overshadow that with like, oh, you're just young and unexperienced and you don't understand the way the world works. But like,
we're also supposed to give them those tools.
We're supposed to be helping them understand how the world works. Yeah. So like,
there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of like,
with what we give them.
There's a lot of like adults building ladders and then kicking the ladder out from underneath the kids and being like, I built my own ladder, so why can't you build a ladder? And it's like, wait, no, you're supposed to help the other person up. You're not supposed to kick out the ladder from underneath them. So
adults are don't grow up, kids.
Yeah. The last point I am going to make.
We didn't talk about Nico at all.
Well, Nico is how they
I think all you said is, so Nico's a goth. Anyway.
Well, Nico is how they find out more about the Children of the Atom because she has a spell book or at least a book of weird things in it. And her grandmother had symbols of it in there. She also, what's cool about her is that she carries around with her a magnifying glass, and that ultimately in the fullness of time is revealed to be her trademark staff, that we see her use in Runaways and comics, and stuff. So that's really, really cool. But, I feel like past that, she's just kind of hanging around. I dig her. But my last point was going to be that, like many other minority groups have found themselves, I'm going to call them the X-Men, and maybe we should talk a little bit about that too, how it started off with the idea that they have bad grades and get a lot of X's, and so they're the X-Men as Maystorm tries to say. I thought that was cute. And it eventually outs her because they're like, "Wait, X-Men? That's what the thing that Maystorm said." But they have an uphill battle to climb because people have already condemned mutants. And I think there's going to be some social commentary on social groups that have to climb themselves out of the negative reputation and negative connotations that other groups have given them by existing. Does that make sense? They have to prove all the mutant haters wrong effectively and gain trust.
I think all teenagers feel like they're going through that. So to see an actual group of teenagers actually having to go through that.
Take us seriously. Don't lump us in a group. Don't generalize us. We're not all the same. Because there's a bad mutant don't mean mutants are bad kind of stuff. But tackling all that from their age and grade level is bonkers. But that's all I really had on this. I think we did a pretty good breakdown on this, considering we didn't go panel to panel, issue to issue.
Yeah.
I think this stuff is a breeze to read, and a lot of the fun is just getting trapped in that art and
absolutely
getting trapped in those more beautiful pages and stuff. But in actuality, I gain so much from these conversations because it is in these conversations that I find out half of the things that I love about the book without realizing it, by just parsing through what seems to be a series of interconnected pictures with dialogue on it, but it's not. It's written in a way to have these moments, to spark these discussions, all through the costume, the disguise of a pulpy, action-packed comic, superhero comic.
Not your grandpa's X-Men.
It's not your grandpa's X-Men, unless your grandpa's name is, what's his name? Kojiyama.
Shinobu.
Unless your grandpa's name is Shinobu, this is not your grandpa's X-Men. Is that what we should throw to? No? It seems like it's time to wrap things up. So for everybody out there who is watching live, because we do this on live on Facebook once a week, thank you so much for sticking with us. We are continuing our Dissecting Ultimate series. And next week, we'll be dissecting Ultimate Black Panther. And that's also the 400th episode of the Major Issues podcast. 400 conversations like this of me having to talk to someone to figure out what's probably very blatant in the film or comic or any of that stuff. But I gotta believe that there's people like me who are coming to these realizations, and that there's even people that are making these realizations because of me and because of us having these earnest conversations about this. We talk about all of this high level, high concept stuff, but it's all written by regular human beings, breathe like we do, who live like we do, who see like we do. And I think that it is a beautiful talent to be able to distill whole feeling in this art form, in this medium. And so it's only through discussion that I find what lies beneath the panels, between the lines. And yeah, I love doing that. So join us next week for episode 400, where we're calculating Ultimate Black Panther. But if you're like, oh my God, don't go, I want to hear you guys more, well, go to ComicBookClique.com. It's the one-stop shop for everything Comic Book Clique. It's every episode of the Major Issues podcast. So after this one, 399 episodes. That's over 400 hours of content. The goal is, if something were to ever happen to me, you could just put all the podcasts in like ChatGPT, and then they'll just come up with like a robot George. Who's like, I don't like Dwayne Johnson. I don't like Maystorm is the greatest. You know that? Like, he'll just say all my catchphrases anyway. So we're not far from that. But until then, you're gonna have to deal with old Meat Sack George here, Meat Case, and in real and in the flesh. So go and check out past episodes of the Major Issues podcast. It's been around since 2017, which means we've covered almost every single theatrical release of a comic book to come out between 2017 and now. We've gone back and done retro reviews on older films, older comics, full story arcs, character breakdowns. We do a lot of cool things here, all in an effort to continue to grow our fandom in comic books and comic book media. So go ahead and check that out at comicbookclique.com. We're also expanding over at comicbookclique.com. We're constantly producing editorial articles under Major Articles. We are popping. We are breaking. I was looking for a verb. We're breaking pop culture news, comic news, film news constantly, and we do all that with the guys over at Dirt Sheet Radio, the industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture. Our boy John Escudero, aka Yogi, runs a tight ship over there, and those guys are constantly doing post shows for all things professional wrestling. That's TNA, AEW, Impact, AAA, WWE, and more. They're currently trying to kill the guys over there by putting 2 pay-per-views on like every other weekend. So pray for them. But yeah, when you're done checking out all the cool stuff that we do, or our articles, all this cool stuff of Comic Book Click on ComicBookClique.com, go over to the Dirt Sheet Radio side and check out what those guys are doing, because as I always say, the Dirt Sheet Radio is always on. You just got to turn it on and see what's playing. So go ahead and try to check out that stuff there. I don't know how you're listening to this. Maybe you're catching us for the very first time on YouTube or on Facebook. But if you already have a podcast listener app of choice, we're available on all podcast apps: Podbean, Stitcher, the Apple Podcast app, TuneFind, YouTube, Spotify, and more. My great pleasure is that you can Google Major Issues Podcast and we'll be the first ones to pop up, because we are the industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture. No, that's dirt. We are Comic Book Clique. I am. My name is Tsubasa. And okay, Mufasa. My name is Mufasa, and we do all this stuff as a labor of love. A lot of this content is done free of charge. We do it for the love of the game. So if you guys want to help us out monetarily, consider going to our shop at Shop CBC link when you go to comicbookclique.com. All that stuff is going to be in the store. By the way, you can buy a piece of merchandise from us. We get a kickback of every single thing purchased, and you own a one-of-a-kind design designed by me. Can't get any better than that. Now, let's say you're one of those people that's like, I want to give you money without getting anything in return. I can give you my other personal information if you want to do that. But no, join patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse, and for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us afford the hardware and the software that we need to keep providing you guys content free of charge here. Because like I said, we do a lot of this for free. Those got to get paid anyway. So if you want to help us out in any way, shape, or form monetarily, consider becoming a Patreon. But again, if you want bang for your buck, if you want something for your money, just buy some merch. And we get a kickback of all that kind of stuff. But, back to school season. You've bought 800 composite notebooks. Is that what they call? Composition notebooks. I haven't been in school in a while. All right.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. I say a lot of them. So
at least 4.
At least 4. There's if you've bought too many composition notebooks to splurge on Comic Book Clique, you know what you could do for free? Tell a friend about the Major Issues Podcast. Tell a friend about our YouTube. Tell a friend about going to Facebook.com/ComicBookClique, Instagram at ComicBookClique, or using that hashtag ComicBookClique to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. We are trying to grow our cult. All right. And we haven't got to the blood drinking portion yet. I think that orientation is next week. But until we get there, join the bandwagon. Where do you think the blood's coming from? Join the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full. Because we are going to absolute great places. Put it this way, a year ago, we didn't even have this one on the podcast or part of the team. And she's been rocking it ever since. And now we got her talking on the podcast. Rising tide raises all ships. I love the growth that we're having here as part of Comic Book Clique. But I don't want you guys to have the FOMO. So join us as we reach the new heights that we will, not only after 400 episodes of Major Issues Podcast, but next year we are closing in on 10 years of Comic Book. So I got some really, really exciting things ready for that. I hope to grow our cult even more and grow our fandoms.
Stop calling it a cult.
I'll call it what I want to call it. And I'm also proud of how far we've come, and I know how far we have yet to go. And yeah, man, we've been killing it across the game, across the board with our numbers, and it's thanks to you guys telling each other about it, sharing it. And just continue doing that. We'll continue doing what we're doing over here, and make sure you join us next week for more Major Issues Podcast. Anything you want to plug? Do you want the people to find you at all?
Ask that every time. I'm on Facebook talking to me. Anything. I don't sell anything. I don't do anything. I'm just here to talk about stuff. Yeah, you can find me on the internet, wherever, somewhere. Just Google me. That won't work. I'm not special. You can't Google me. I don't know. Probably you can't find me. Try.
She's calling it a challenge. If you want to find her,
available. If you can find me, I'm happy to talk to anyone. If you have some reason
There you go. There you go. And yeah, I am here each and every week, and I am on all the socials. So just reach out there if you guys want to chat. But I don't think there's anything else here left to say. But my name is George Serrano, aka the Don.
Okay.
And this has been our Dissecting Ultimate X-Men recap and review. And remember, whether you're covering your heart with a suit of armor, or living with some darkness inside, and feel a bit of surge of energy, or pie like Maystorm.
Yeah.
Or just a cutie pie like Maystorm. Remember that we are the X-Men. Remember that you're not alone. Remember that we are the Clique. And always remember that you, yes, you are worthy. Thanks, guys.